Hey,
Hi.
hi.
Hey, Kitze. Hi, how are you?
Doing fine. You?
Uh, yeah, good as well. Just let's just wait a couple more minutes for wait up for people to
Yeah.
show up, to join us, and then we're gonna kick this off.
All right. Is there a way to share this? Wow, they don't have a quick
Uh,
share on Twitter thing.
I don't know about you, but me as a host, I have this in the lower right corner. There's the sharing icon, so
Mm-hmm.
I could. I don't know if you have that.
I'll just quote tweet this. It's fine.
Oh, okay. So let's just wait a minute or two so everybody can join us.
Yep. Yeah, just quote tweet.
Yeah. I mean, before we start, like, how are you? I heard I've seen that video, but like back problems. You okay? Is it getting better? Maybe.
I honestly thought three people will see the video, and suddenly I get like 20,000 comments from people commenting about my leg issues. It's weird. Uh, yeah, currently I'm lying down on the floor, like one of those movies from the 2000s where two besties talk on the phone, with their legs dangling on the bed. That's what I'm doing right now, just because I won't be comfortable to sit through the entire session. How long is this going to
Oh
take, by the
man.
way?
Well, it depends on the on our discussion, but 15, 20 minutes, I suppose, maybe less.
All right.
As much. There's no pressure. It's just just to get some
I
voice
honestly
out.
never done a Twitter space in my life, mostly because I don't use the Twitter app on my phone. I'm trying not to
Oh,
keep any addictive apps on my phone. So I
I get
checked
it.
if there's on desktop. There's no Twitter spaces on desktop, so I had to install it right now. So it's the first
Oh,
time.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
sorry for that.
Yeah.
Uh, but okay. There's a first time for everything. Um, well, I guess we should kick off.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, yeah. Okay. So, hello everyone. Welcome to this Twitter space. My name is Tipe. I'm here on behalf of the Chef Conference. With me here is Kitze. Kitze, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Of
Thank
course,
you.
I assume most people in this audience know who you are, what you do, but just in case there's somebody who's not familiar, could you just please quickly introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, I'm Kitze and I call myself a rectangle mover because mostly that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I move rectangles, create web apps, sometimes useful, sometimes I feed my own ego, sometimes I make projects for myself. The most popular thing I've ever made is Sizzy, the browser for developers, and currently I'm being focused on making something called Better. It's an app for habits, self-improvement, tasks, routines, calendar, planner, and so on. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, okay, today's space is titled Harsh Truth for Developers, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody who, who knows you knows why you're the perfect guest for this topic.
Mm.
Because when I first heard your talk at the InfoWeb Shift conference 2 years ago, I
Mm-hmm.
was surprised by how direct and honest you were, and then you repeated it last year at Shift 2022. So let's say that you paint sort of a different picture of the developer profession than what is like commonly widespread. Why is that
Yeah.
your approach? Why did you choose for that to share that perspective with the community?
No particular reason. To me, it's just logical to think
Hmm.
this way, and it seems like my opinion is like very different from most web developers. So I'm trying to share it just to give people a different perspective, because sometimes it seems to me really logical that web developers are, I see them like really, really smart people, but when I
Hmm.
see the discussions and the things what they're obsessing over, I'm like, are they? So it's very it's very opposite. So yeah, I've been trying to spread this message, and I've been talking about this actually for like 6 years at this point. I've been
Hmm.
giving conference talks for like 6 years. The last one that I did was a little bit different. It was mostly about startups and creation and stuff like that because honestly, I got tired. And even when I agreed to this Twitter space and you sent me the agenda, I'm like, oh, I have to ramble about this thing again. I really want to distance myself a little bit from the web
Hmm.
dev community and be more into the startup slash creator community because that's what I'm obsessed with. I just want to create things, and I think even if you use the tools from a couple of years ago and you just freeze your package JSON and you never update any package, you'll be fine and you can actually ship useful and like super performant apps with your users. But it seems like everyone is obsessing just to upgrade, to upgrade, to upgrade, to upgrade. And I want to distance myself a little bit from the entire discussion about frameworks and latest tools and stuff. So yeah, a bit tired on of it.
Okay, but the last talk you did at Shift and that
Yeah,
you will do also on the Shift Miami is GitHub stars won't pay your rent.
yeah.
Uh, Again, a very direct talk. Did you get any feedback? Like we got feedback as a conference organizer that it was one of the most popular talks at the
hmm
conference. But you personally, what like how did the colleagues react? Your colleagues or people who listened in the audience?
People liked it. I was actually
Hmm.
surprised because this was an experimental talk. Usually in a developer audience, Um, I mean, InfoBip wasn't that developer focused. There was a mix of startup people and everything, right? But in other developer conferences, I was not sure if the talk is going to click with people. But it seems like no matter what people have created, whether it's a small startup or an app or whatever, they all faced something similar. So I got reached out by a couple of people saying, "Hey, I was struggling with the same thing. So thank you
Hmm.
for telling your story and blah blah blah." So I was honestly surprised that it clicked with so many people. I thought it's gonna bomb, but yeah, people liked it.
Yeah, people appreciate honesty and I
Yeah,
guess a different approach a bit.
yeah.
But so I guess it seems to me like somebody who's an outsider. I'm not really a developer, of course, but um, there seems like this widespread perception that developers sort of have it easy. Maybe like they make a lot of money. It's very lucrative, a great career.
hmm
Would you agree with that? And if not, I guess not. But why do you think why this perception is so strong? Like who created it? Who is to blame, if anyone, for this
I didn't
idea?
understand. You're saying that people are saying that developers have it easy, right? And they're making a lot of money. That's what you're saying?
That's something like me, like who's not a tech person.
Uh-huh.
From other non-tech people, I always
Yeah.
hear that comment like, "Oh, I should have been a developer. I'm here struggling at my job. I should have been a developer. They have a lot of money." Like, how did that?
Uh, that's funny to me. I mean, yeah, I've been complaining about struggling as a web developer for so long, but it's honestly first world problems and complaining. Because
Mhm,
our job, at the end of days, like our job is not that hard. I know a lot of people want to inflate their ego and pretend that we're doing more complex things than what we're doing, but I see my job as just solving puzzles and having fun on most days, except when I'm dealing with CSS. Like that's a living nightmare. But like everything else seems like you're solving mini puzzles and what
mhm,
I've been mentioning in my talk is sometimes you're lucky if you have like if you're working for a good company, like you have a boss who's giving you mini puzzles throughout the day and you have to solve them and at the end of the day you go home and that's it. So it seems more fun than other professions. They're in
mhm,
a lot of professions are like very repetitive. They're dealing with the same things and the same things and the same things. And here, even if you didn't have a job as a web developer, mostly you'll be doing the same things day to day. You'll just figure out problems and puzzles on your own and you would solve them and you would make insane amount of money doing that. I think right now, as a web developer, I think web developers are very, very overpaid. And
mhm,
I'm honestly looking forward to the day where developers are going to be paid as much as they should be paid because like we kind of inflated um how much we get paid just by overcomplicating things and I think slowly we're going to go in the other way with AI and everything where anyone and their mother can actually create a website, a web app, a tool, a service, whatever it is.
mhm.
So finally our value will come down a little bit.
Oh, so you think like AI tech will sort of level the playing field, make it
Oh,
more
definitely,
realistic?
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Hmm.
like coding will be like I've been using a platform called Coda, which is similar to Notion. I don't know if you've heard of Coda.
Heard of it? Yes.
And unlike
Actually, saw it on
Notion,
your tweet. Yeah.
yeah, and unlike Notion, Coda lets you like build mini apps, let's say. Like it lets you put a button and a slider and formulas, and it's like very, very similar to, if you have an app, let's say you want to track your dog's life to code that
Hmm.
app with coding, it would take you like a long time. But to do it with Coda, it's like dragging a couple of tables and adding a couple of buttons, and you basically created a mini app for yourself. So I think just like everyone can use Excel and Google Docs, platforms like Coda or these no-code tools will become like a no-brainer. Everyone at their job would have to use these
Hmm.
tools. So the more they use them, the more they'll be capable of recreating these mini SaaS apps that people are creating and charging for. So the field will definitely be leveled. That's how I see it.
Okay, so maybe some reality checks will be coming to the field sort of
Yeah.
in the future. But
Yeah.
how about you when you were starting your developer profession? Did
Hmm.
as a career as a developer, did you enter it with the like pink glasses on, or like how long did it take you to realize and accept some unpopular realities?
Those glasses, the pink glasses, they're wielded on you. They don't come off. Like it's very hard to take them off.
Hmm.
Especially, I don't know. I love programming overall because unlike other professions, we're the only ones who can conjure up ideas. Like you can have an
Hmm.
idea at 6 p.m. and release it by 8 p.m. Anyone else
Right.
in the physical world, like no matter what their profession is, until I from idea to realization, it will take them months, years to realize something. So
Hmm.
I have to tolerate all the crap that web development gives me.
Hmm.
And I think you need to keep those pink glasses on all the time. It just
Hmm.
amazes me, like it's like some people, like I'm constantly hating on all the things that are happening in web development, and I'm on one spectrum, and I see everyone else is on the completely other side, where they're like, no, what do you mean, what's wrong with it? Like, I don't know how web developers cannot zoom out a little bit to see that we've been reinventing these same rectangles over and over and over and over again for like 20 years. So what I'm saying is I see way less skeptics like me, and I see way more optimistic people with pink glasses, just thinking, what's wrong? This is wonderful. This new library update will let us save 2 kilobytes. That's amazing. And they share this
Hmm.
news, like that. That's just super weird to me.
Okay, so do you think that there's this recent period
Yeah.
insecurity, instability in the tech field. There are mass layoffs. Uh, do you think that? Well, we always obviously touched on this, but how do you see profession changing in the future? Like how will developers have to change themselves, like their approach to their jobs in the future with with AI, with the
Mm.
unstable market, or do you think that things will stabilize in the future? Salaries
No,
will be like.
definitely. That definitely things won't stabilize. And this with the layoffs, everyone is panicking, everyone is overreacting, and me, I just have my popcorn all the time, and I'm like, well, told you. I've been
Yeah.
talking about this for a while, and it's not like all of these layoffs have anything to do with AI right now.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
I understand.
definitely I see like in the future that if you needed a team of 7 people to do something, now I think like one developer with the help of AI can actually replace easily a team of people. So now when you multiply that on a bigger scale, you will see that more and more and more jobs will be lost. So I think people who can like it's very hard to keep up with tools right now. It's very, very hard. But
Mhm.
people who are good at finding these tools and using them early on to maximize the amount of things that can do. Like if you're the person at the company who can create the front end, the back end, and the landing page and design the logo and design a bunch of stuff with the help of AI, of course you'll be more valuable than someone who can only do back end
Mhm.
or work with databases.
Okay, so what?
So I
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you're like smart enough, like I don't call myself a backend developer, but just with the help of a bunch of tools like Prisma and a bunch of other things, like I've managed to release a bunch of apps that have a backend, so I can call myself a full stack developer. But there's definitely more specialized people than me, and I think their value will decrease because someone who's smart enough to work on front end or someone who's smart enough to work with design and stuff, with the help of AI, they'll do a good enough job as the person who's been working with backend for like 15 years. So I think
Oh.
specializing in
Mhm.
something won't be that valuable in the future because with AI in a couple of days you'll be able to get up to speed with a lot of things. That's how I see it. Maybe I'm
So
wrong.
like no, so like to summarize, like an advice to developers would
Hmm.
be upgrade your skill set and don't become specialized on one thing. Try to think of of the bigger picture, and so become invaluable, right?
Yeah, that would be one advice. And the second one is when a helpful tool comes along the way, and I've seen
Hmm.
this throughout the years, even starting with styled components 5, 6 years ago, whenever it was released. I saw like a lot of style components solves a lot of things, but a lot of
Hmm.
developers, the majority of developers rejected it because of some reasons that they invented, like, oh no, but this will be a problem and that will be a problem. And I see the same thing years later with AI, for example. Like they see ChatGPT, and instead of seeing, "Ooh, how can I use this to improve myself, to to be faster, to be better," they immediately start to nitpick and try to prove away how this won't work and why the old way is better.
Yeah.
So if you just open your mind a little bit to new tools and stuff, I think it's rarely seen in the web community that they accept new things. They're like really, really hard to be convinced about a new thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of weird.
it
I
is weird.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean for the such an advanced field, but I guess that's something that comes with the profession. But yeah, I agree with you because when ChatGPT came out, a lot of people were, as you said, nitpicking it,
yeah,
uh, without like realizing that it's so brand new that it will definitely get upgraded as the time moves along, and it will get only better. And it's already much better than it has been when it came out. So like that, I would agree that for every profession, not just developers, you just have to accept the new tools that come out and use them for your own benefit, I guess.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely, definitely.
just to get back to your talk, which you will also
Hmm.
deliver in Miami, GitHub stars
Yeah,
won't pay rent. Um, from what I understand from your like process when you're creating a talk, you're constantly correct me if I'm wrong. You're constantly like change. You're adapting it. You don't just create one talk and then you just do it for years. You're adapting it. You're improving it.
yeah.
What can you just give us like broad strokes? What has changed since 2022? Like, will there be some new additions to the slides?
I given the talk two or three more times after the last
Mm-hmm.
info bib, so there's not that many changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be doing more as I'm giving more talks. I'm giving one more talk in Netherlands next month. I mean the same talk. But there hasn't been significant changes, to be honest. Maybe the
Oh,
day
okay.
before when I rehearse it and I haven't seen it in a while, so maybe
Yeah.
I'll get inspired to change some slides and stuff. But for now, there's not many changes. Usually, I make a lot of changes
Mm-hmm.
based on, let's say, feedback from the audience, or if I try to include some jokes, but I see that people are not laughing or they're not funny, like I would change those things. But so far, everything has clicked. People like all the content, so I think more or less it's gonna be the same talk.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right. Well, okay. Uh, for all of you in the audience who might not know, we're having a Shift conference in Miami in May. Kitze will be our speaker. He's one of the 15 speakers who will be at the stage. So if you're interested in attending, want to check it out, just please go into our profile and you'll find all the info. Well, okay. I guess I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Just
you
one more.
actually did. You did take a lot of my time. How could you?
Oh,
I'm kidding.
sorry.
Move on.
I guess just to one more last question that I had written and I skipped over it, but I think it's really interesting. How do you balance with being honest with being constructive? Because from what I see, like you have this really good balance of just giving honest honest advice, but also advice that any developer could potentially use. So how do you find that balance? Like how do you not go too harsh with the criticism, if you understand?
Well, it depends who do you ask about that. Like
Hmm.
honestly, like I'm just being super honest all of the time. I'm not trying to,
Hmm.
I don't censor myself or filter myself. Maybe I should.
Hmm.
A lot of times I come out as like too harsh to people. But the best thing that I've received as feedback is from a CEO of a company that's like super, super popular, and a lot of developers are using services from this company. He just messaged me saying, "Hey, just so you know, thanks to you in our early days when you were ranting and complaining about our technology, we actually pivoted to something better just because of your rant, and we realized we're doing something wrong." So as soon as he said that, like I just took it to a next, like if I ever plan to censor myself, I'm like, well, I'm never ever gonna stop being harsh and stop telling people the harsh truths, because if I help that person and that big company, like I can be helping anyone along the way. And if someone gets mad, I think it's mostly an unresolved problem that they have with themselves, like a talk that they didn't have with themselves. So that's why the truth might hurt. And yeah, I don't have any particular advice there. Like I'm just being 100% honest. And I just hope that along the way, my honesty will help people.
Great.
And
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
I hope you stay honest and direct. because that's really great, and I love it. I love hearing your talks. They're really a breath of fresh air. And okay,
Thank you.
well, we wrap this up. I have no more questions, and it was really a nice talk. Thank you for joining
Sure,
us,
sure, no
and
problem.
see you in Miami in May for
See you.
another
See
harsh
you.
talk.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
thank you,
Have a good
thank
day.
you, Kitze.
Bye, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you too. Bye, bye.